The film begins with a movie that remains a sense that it is a cow and can benefit humanity with its strange inventions. And the first need for its work is that he tried to solve the problem of the firm big, but one of his colleagues asked the self who can take off the boot of this to try that he is joining, but he did not destroy an inside her. His Zamaleh prevented them from their insults and he is not sad, and when the soul of the house entered or circumcised the door while he was frustrating, his mother has become a good manner, but a movie that he said is that people they all see it failed. She replied to him and said that he was not a failure. It is him. A very important world remains, because all the great scholars were people who saw them failed at the beginning of their lives, and they fell asleep like those who were the scholars. They are close to inven. He saw him on a size that was suitable for me, and after the words of his mother, he would like a top movie that repeatedly returns to try to invent again, invented more. Zain is the work of a TV that moves instead of the place, as well as a treatment for baldness and Arabic to fly, but it was drowned, and all these inventions were failing and causing disasters. And in what you used to do all the inventions, so that he would try to help the people of his town, which is a very small island in the center of the ocean. And the people of the island were living to hunt the sardines and export it once. The people were invalid, all of them remain narrative, and here the world is in Lamm, who has an invention. The problem of the island is a device that is about water, eating and going to a movie in the laboratory with his creation. He creates the experience of invention with Jordan and his assistant, which is a movie that a device is making a device that tries to speak, and after what you do not connect you to him electrical invention connections. The device begins to work, and it was about to be looking to eat. But a group gets a caravan because electricity was not as a group and failed. The experience, and the electricity is separated from the whole house. And his father always clears support from him and meets what is trying in inventions because they are all failing, and if he must work in inventions of his belongings, he grows up that he is working with him in the place of the sardines in his sardi. So the beginning of a top movie, thinking about his mother who was always encouraged, and the second day of Birouh Villat with his father is the place of sardines and remains a sense of boredom from traditional work. And he would like to return to his invention again. And when the conservative television of Al Jazeera, he says that he decided to work a new project on the island, on the Shan lying Besoy. I have the same as the budget of the island in this project and tells them that the child brand who was drawn on the cans of sardines and he is young who opens the project after he grew up. And when Beji, the father of a movie, will go to the opening, asking you, if you love, he would go with him, when they refuse. They say that he is preferred in the local. His father, and Bimchi, takes advantage of the opportunity and runs on the factory. It is in the invention of the second they are closer, but the time this takes advantage of Al Nahla, the island is all busy in the opening and the device is connected to its authority and the public electricity station and we go to the governor who remains very tense and says the type and works for a project. All people speak to him because he does not want to be the conservative of the islands. And when the opening begins to speak with the people, by saying that the press publishes this news and the whole world will see them, and actually followed a large news station broadcasted under training, named Sam, to cover the event and described. The tape item and the event remains a huge aquarium in the largest sardine on the island, and it is supposed to make acrobatic movements like those in The Secret, and the project is surprised by all people. It is caught by the apparatus, charging with electricity too much, so it takes a movie Toby to educate and prefer to wrap Yabibi on the whole island and try to stop it. But it is not able to do it and the reason is that he is sitting the opening, and in the end the device is separated. You and Peter are in the sky and Beji short, and they are arrested in the time, but the time is only, and the thickness, and the Bigi, a bird that disappears the largest sardines with them, as well and feel failed. Also, he remains a prosecutor because he invented him lost from him, and the journalist Sami came to the same place and remains her extent because the report is noticeable and that she failed in her first meeting. By chance, you get to know a movie. I am very surprised by the boot of its seat. Also, with the hand that translates his ideas, and this makes a movie that helps very and optimistic about this time. Someone admires his inventions after what his mother does not come after that. Flenton feels strange to happen, and if he needs her from the sky. And when he sees 1,000 and they see that the invention is successful, and he left the world reigns of burger sandwiches, it rejoices in the very you and what is the sun that is that the invention is successful, and the people of the island are happy with all of them when they are obese, the rain house, the sandwiches, and when they know that the film of the invention has justified it, they ask him that he is working for them for other types of food. We Sam with the perception of what happens and the news spreads in the whole world. And when you are not going to the laboratory, he will change his type. It causes a second disaster, so he agrees and enters the movie century with a laboratory with Sam and the photographer and explains in Lamm to Sami the device. He works, saying that he depends on the water in a large way, but they say that the amount of food is very much that I have been sure because the device when he flew in the sky he arrived at the clouds that remain a lot. And she tells him that the device cannot be safe due to the many foods they are asking. Indeed, you are stroke, and it says that he has an indicator of the degree of risk. But if this indicator is only the degree of safety, it will not be known to what it can happen. After that, it begins in the U or the computer connects to his items, the device in the sky, and this is through a transmission device that controls it. He chooses the first food, actually operates the device again, and it downloads a lot of food on the island, and all people remain happy and go to the governor in Lint, and they try to make a kind that he comes down to eat 3 times in the day, for people to eat in the anchor. To the one who happens and works for them, and this is evacuated by the bank. And the danger indicator begins to move and change the conditions of the island to the point that they threw all the food, the increase in the sea, and there is no door in them to operate. What does not do something, but they only eat, and go, so let his father be in the local with the sardines and bilimi. And he repeated that he was selling to Birouh for free, and this is because the people were invalidated to eat sardines, and when he is asking in you from his father that he is going to me, he tried the new food to refuse, because he does not have a convinced food, so he is in the right of you in walking after that, and the police will go, and the police go to the police. The film is top asking him and descending a new type of food on the occasion of his son's birthday. On the day they work, they are the best gift, and the whole island is made of ice cream, and all children remain happy and play in you with them. Thus, the poison imagines all that happens far, and he plays in you with them with the shattering, and by perceive the poison, all that happens, and the whole world is watching them, and you say pours that the governor decided that today this is separated by the intransigence and the ice cream, and it is. The inhabitants of the whole world intend to open the new tourist village on the island on Saturday. And we go to the movie Toe, and think about Sam who remained its fans, and he kept wanting to do it, a need you love, and after a lot of thinking he decides that he is doing it with the largest machine in my generation in the world, because he knows the deputy loves the generation, he takes it and goes to see it for the generation, and it will be very surprised, and they enter and answer they prefer to play. At the time that the indicator began to enter into in Al-Qatar, but in your hands, he does not have an interest. And then goes, oh blue, so that he can make it try to eat, that goes down and enters and eat in a large restaurant. And he will be in a strong storm, and they notice while they eat eating in large sizes, and his father is surprised by saying that food is in need strange, and the size began to grow up, but in what you do not have to see any problem, and with his son he says that he is the only one who does not see his success, unlike all the people who wondered his invention, so he is annoyed by his father and his affliction, and he walk. Indeed, eating is an enlarged limit, and that he needs a mistake or what is in the spirit, but the governor goes to him. So his weight remains very more than a sheet of food, and he says that he is the opening ball, and that every need is necessary to walk, and that he is present with a list of food. God descends, in that you refuse and tell him that it is possible that a big problem can happen, but the governor comes to say it is the one who cuts the city's opening tape, so to pay attention. The second day that the opening will be in the people from everywhere in the world so that they can watch the new Korean. And they also see the food that comes from the sky, and Sam discovers that in a very strong storm will reach the island on this day and try to know in attention. The problem is, but it is what is interested in, it is also made of it because it remains today, this is the one who succeeds in front of the whole world, and it will enter it and enter into the opening of the continent, and he met what cuts the tape to find the weather, it turns into strong winds, all salt and pepper, and it has a huge storm that consisted of coupled, and all people are afraid. Start, it is running and connecting Sami Elementary. Who is he? You are walking in the you are trying in what is happening and reading the laboratory to stop the device. But it is the one who keeps the governor there and asks for more eating. So he tries to prevent, but the governor will be the reason that he is the transmission device. There is no means of any means, a communication with the device is pure. At that time, the inhabitants of the island remain, trying to escape the storm to some extent, calm down, and they think there is that, but Sam tells them from the storm, life is not, you did not arrive, and the gnat is the largest mandi badir and works, but directly for the whole world. You see them and say that the storm affected the hemisphere in 4 hours, and that the whole world is covered with food. And the father of the movie was made by the local, and the whole island is destroyed and turned around on a tubly film sitting alone. And he is noticeable, even though he was his only goal that he helps people and his father, His court, the confusion, with his saying that he tells him that he must revolve to solve the problem and he is fed in Lantoboro for the laboratory and works Arabic and fly and take the Arabic to reach the pole with his poling, but the city's residents prevent them from keeping them to kill him because it is the reason for all that happens. Beige, the policeman, and give them, and tells them that it is the reason. And it is what they were the ones who were asking for a lot. And they did not think about the need other than what they want. And they're saying that it is inherent all of them help some and work the boats to and go to Sam and the photographer, you are with villain to destroy the device, but when they connect and are surprised that the device is covered with a very large ball of eating, and the flash that has a symbol of destruction with a door from a top movie calling his son to help him ask that he enters the laboratory for his sake it is sold on the mobile, the file that is destroyed by the machine. The film, the photographer, asks that he depicts Arabic in his place and leads them to the opening that comes to the device. And when it is a metal, and Brent, they discover that they are innate wrong and what is known to know that they will come out of it, and by trying the price of oil, he knew the right path from the device with it, and at the same time it is that you are still talking to his father and he explains to him how the file and his father sold him to say that the whole town is destroyed by the factory with his violin and is about to end, but it is successful that he is sending it to the file that is destroying the device and we went to the righteousness. But Brand is able, he returns the second of the chicken and also returns to the movie T-Mobile and asks them to give him and walk on the way they complete their mission, and suddenly Beton contributes to my eating, so it remains allergic to it. In Brand and go to her and take it and return it to the Arabic again and go to the unit to blow up the device, but when he communicates it on the mobile, he will find that the father's file after entering his mistake is the idea that he uses the Asperia for me from the seat. He is small and paid by the device slot, and there is a very large explosion, and Sam, and the one with it is the island Tawny. My goal is for the Netherlands, thinking